Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a mindset and identity mentor for the next generation, none other than Mr. Brayden Black.
Thanks for the introduction, my friend. I am happy to be here. We are stoked to have a great conversation and looking forward to it.
Welcome, Mr. Brayden, on Book 101 review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, like you said, my name is Brayden. I'm from the good old state of Utah. I'm 23 years old, and I just have this dream and this passion to help the next generation and people everywhere to reclaim their identity and really be empowered to go dream big and achieve what they want to achieve and create the lives that they want to create.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Brayden. Thank you. And today let's talk about From I Can to I Can. What amazing topic today, Mr. Brayden. The Kent identity. You talk about shift from I can to I can. Where
Mm.
does the initial I can't voice usually come from? Is it a proactive instinct, a learned story, an echo of an old failure that's been mistaken for identity?
So for me, this quote actually comes from Henry Ford. And there's a quote where he says, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." Essentially, he's saying that whether you believe that you can't do something or you believe that you can, you're right. Because whatever you tell your mind, whatever thoughts and stories you believe up here eventually translate into how you act and what you do. And so that's a belief that I hold about myself and that I tell everybody else is whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You're going to go out and do whichever one of those two you believe in.
Interesting, Mr. Braden. What does the persistent narrative I can't cost a person? Not just a missed opportunities, but in a daily energy, relationship, and self perception. How does it shape their reality before they even act?
Mm. I think it shapes your reality before you act because it influences how you act. So therefore, if I'm in a limiting mindset and belief, then naturally I perform actions that are more limiting or not as fulfilling or not as ambitious or not as go-getter because my thoughts are already putting me into a state of being where I don't there's no way I would perform those other acts or those other things because to my mind those are out of the question. And so when you choose to say that I can, your brain immediately begins to believe and think of certain scenarios in different situations where you see things in a bigger picture that I can go get those. But if you believe that you can't, that already influences your thoughts and emotions to only do certain things that fall within that parameter. And so that thought is already more limiting because it limits how you act.
Mr. Braden, the can't that feels like truth. Some I can'ts feel like immutable facts about our abilities, our past, our circumstances. How do you help someone distinguish between a temporary self imposed limitation and a true immutable constraint?
Mm. That's something I would definitely have to meet with them about and see how long has this been something that you struggled with? Is this a scenario or a circumstance that came from something else? Was it an experience? Was it a person? Was it something that you were born with? And kind of unpack and dig deep as to how long has this been around and how come it's still around? And if it's something that can be changed, then that's why I love meeting with people as to, okay, how can we change this framework or mind of thinking? If we can't, this is another thing that I'm super passionate about is if you can't change a circumstance, then you can change how you think about it and you can control how you react to the circumstance.
Yes. How would you control and react? For sure. So, Mr. Braden, let's talk about the anatomy of the chef. The change rarely starts with the full throated I can. What's the vital intermediate step? They may I could, or what if? That represents the first crack in I can't walk.
Mm. Did you, and just to repeat that, did you say I can or I can't walk?
I can't walk.
Okay. And your question was, how do we break that shift?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So if you're thinking that you can't do a certain thing, in this example, can't walk, if it's if this is a natural thing that you were born with, it cannot be changed. Maybe it is true that I can't walk, and there are a bunch of actions and ways that I believe about myself that might be limiting and negative. But a big part for me is gratitude. There's always something to be thankful for. And when you choose to be in a state of gratitude, you choose to live in a state of abundance where you're only looking at what you have instead of what you don't have. Now, if this were a situation where somebody was saying, I can't do blank, but it's actually changeable, then what I would do is explore with this person a series or list of thoughts where what are other possible true scenarios? And then what I would do is help give them reasons and help them explore a list of other thoughts or evidence as to why those thoughts are true. So that way they're not just wishful thinking, but rather these are concrete, built in pieces of evidence to sustain your new belief and thoughts so that you can go forward and change to I can.
Very well said, Mr. Brayden. Very well said indeed. So, how does one practically rewire a brain that is defaulted to I can't? Is it
Mm.
about language, evidence, action, or combinations? What is the smallest secret test you recommend?
I would say all of those. There's a kind of a triad, a series of steps that I would do to try and break these patterns of limiting beliefs. Number one is I would think about the thoughts that you don't like, the self-talk, the limiting beliefs that you don't like, and I would go back in just in the past week or in time where you can recognize and notice when you were saying those things to yourself. That's step number 1 is recognize when they happened. Step number 2 is once you've done that long enough, you eventually become the master of your mind where you can start to recognize when they're happening in the moment. And that's part 2 is recognizing in the moment when you're having these negative self-talk limiting beliefs. Just recognize that they're happening. And as you get good at that, step number 3 is then you recognize it, but then you can change it in the moment. And you can come up with ample reasons and evidence to support why the new thought and the new belief is true.
Mr. Braden, let's talk about the role of the body. This is not just a mental shift, isn't it? How does the physical experience I can't, the slump shoulders, the shallow breathe differ from psychology of I can?
Mm,
And can we use the body to lead the mind to believe?
mm. When you talk about this, I think about sports movies and the physiological state of somebody doing or performing a certain thing when they say I can is powerful, and it leads them to do things that they never ever or anybody ever thought possible. But when you say I can't, there is a noticeable physical change in body language when somebody says the thought I can't, because then that puts your body physiologically into a state of I won't. If I can't, then I won't. So therefore, every part of my body is going to be in a state of, well, that thing is not going to happen. So that's how I'm going to be. I believe it all starts in the mind. It all has to start from this powerhouse upstairs. And that's what gets the physiological to do its thing, but only when it starts upstairs.
Mr. Braden, permission to be a beginner. A huge barrier is to fear of looking foolish. How do you grade
Mm,
people, or how do you grant people the radical permission to be bad at something on a path to being able to do it? How do you detoxify the beginner phase?
yeah. I think if you're at the beginning, you should be proud because every person that's great, by your definition of greatness, started at the beginning somewhere. And so if you feel like you're starting at the beginning, my permission that I give to you is that great, you're normal. Everybody has. You're no different than everybody else in that particular way. You're not an exception. It's okay to not be at where you want to be yet. You'll get there. And as regards to thinking about, what do other people think? I'm making these changes, I'm going these places. There's a one of my favorite quotes that says, "The people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind." And that just being that really you just go and do your thing. The people that actually care won't care about the changes that you're making or what you want to do. They'll support you. And the people that you shouldn't really care about, they don't like it doesn't matter what they think. You just go out and you do your thing. You have permission, full-blown permission to start from the beginning as a beginner because we all started from somewhere.
Yes, we started from zero, people. Zero itself. The evidence log, Mr. Braden. You talk about building a cage against I
Mm,
can't. What does that evidence log look like? Are we collecting past success? Or is it about documenting a tiny current act of courage that disprove the old story?
yeah. So going back to this concept of evidence, there is this key when trying to create new habits, thought patterns, and beliefs that we need not just new thoughts, but we need evidence to support why those things are true. And so, one of the things that I do to help people gather this evidence is what have other people said about it that could be true? What are other experiences that you've had that also support it? And using a combination of both of those and just past experiences in your own personal life and maybe the experiences of somebody else, you can begin to construct ways that you want to think and new habits and new thought patterns just for you.
Just for you, people. Create the patterns, and for sure you will be successful. The leap from I can or can to can't is often paralyzed by fear or a public confirming failure. How
Mm.
do you reframe failure from being a proof of I can't to being a necessary piece of data on path to I can?
Mm. Failure, you're not a failure if you fail, you're a failure if you quit. Failure is a part of every success story. Give me one person who's successful by your definition of success in this life who hasn't failed. Thomas
Mhm.
Edison, 1,000 failed attempts, but the 1,001st was the light bulb. Everybody has failure as a part of their story. And you know why we love those stories? It's because failure was a part of it. If failure is not a part of your story, then that's not a very good story. Naturally, we don't like those. We love the opposition, the grit and the grind and the messiness in between. Failure is okay. It's how you respond to failure and messing up that then dictates what kind of future you create.
What future you are creating, people, that is matter at all. Sometimes well meaning people in our lives reinforce our I can't stories out of love or protection. How do we navigate conversations where we need to set boundary around our emerging I can without isolating our support?
Yeah, that's an amazing question because there will be oftentimes people the closest to you that don't support your beliefs. I was recently coaching this person, and that was a scenario that they were in. They had had this dream that they've worked on for a long, long time, and they've seen a lot of success and they were moving on their way up. And it came to this point where it kind of seemed like it was all down to the wire and there was a lot hanging in the balance of whether or not this person performed how they needed to perform to make it on to the next level. And they had no support. Everybody told them that they should be doing something else, they'd be better off, and that this wasn't for them. And to be honest, I usually think in those stories, sometimes support is cut off, but that's what makes the person stronger. I'm a firm believer in communication that if you have a dream or a wish or something's in conflict with what other people are, as you said, trying to protect you, trying to save you, I would ask them, how come? How come you think this dream or this vision or this desire that I have is going to do that? What's going on in your mind? So really I would pick apart where the other people are coming from. And I know that that's a terrible answer, but as a coach, that's something that I'm always doing is picking apart, well, how come they're thinking that way about me or you and the dream that you want to create? And be explicit about your communication and really get down to discovering your intentions. And I think when you do that, you'll actually find more support than you probably imagined.
Empowering answer. Measure. So when I can feels arrogant, for some, especially those raised to be humble, claiming I can feels arrogant or boastful. How do you differentiate healthy self efficacy from arrogance and give people permission to own their capacity?
Mm. I feel like when somebody is arrogant, it comes from a state of I'm better than you or I don't need you. Whereas when I have positive self talk, I believe that I can because I'm also doing it with other people. I feel like if when you believe, and there's a difference between confidence and arrogance, or cocky and arrogance and confident. And it's that this doesn't come from a place within just inside me, but as a person of faith, it comes from God or a higher power or the people around me that help me to be able to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. And that's how I differentiate between confidence and arrogance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. And Mr. Braden, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
What is one of my lifelong goals?
Yes, please. Yes.
I have a dream to impact millions, if not billions, of people. I don't know exactly how yet, but I think I have a vision and an idea, and I'm going to do my very best to get there. And that is to help people believe in themselves again, to dream again, and to discover who they are and what they can do and what they have the capacity to do. And that's one of my lifelong goals.
As a coach, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Mm. Long term, I would love to have a full scaled coaching business where I have lots of clients and people doing seminars and workshops and speaking in different audiences and stages just to get people these resources that they need. Short term is to land some immediate speaking gigs and opportunities and get my business more more out there to more people.
Mr. Braden, good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I would tell them, you go get it. You go chase it, my friend, whoever you are. If you want to be like me or like anyone, you dream it and you go get it. Set a plan, make goals, and you don't let anybody tell you that you can't because you can. I guarantee it. And where there is a will, there is a way. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. People, listen to Mr. Braden. And thank you for that advice. And what would be your recommendation? Books that recommend or books that make your journey more successful?
Hmm. Ones that come to my mind are Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was a man that was incarcerated in a camp during World War II, and he has an incredible story. Seven Habits for Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, wonderful book as well. And I would say those two books right off the bat. For sure, go take a look.
Thank you for the recommended books, Mr. Brayden. When someone makes the shift in one area of life, how does it inevitably begin to infect other areas? What is the common story of spillover you've observed?
It's a domino effect. Once one area begins to change, your mind sees it as capacity and the ability to go change everywhere else. And that's extremely exciting and very powerful. And when you have a mindset, it goes everywhere.
Mindset, people. A broader implication and societal stories, Mr. Braden. Cultural Kant. What are the some of the private or pervasive societal I can't narratives that we observe without question? And how do we begin to audit and dismantle them on a personal level?
Some I can'ts that I see is I can't get this job. I can't get this person to like me or work out, or this relationship won't work out. I can't achieve this goal or this dream. I can't make it to where I want to go. But the thing is, one easy way to replace that is think about people who have done each one of those things. And if somebody has done those things, then that naturally means that therefore you can too.
Yes, you can too. Why not? Mindset again. How does a community or organizations change when a critical mass of individuals shift from a culture of I can to I can? What becomes possible?
Momentum, power, energy, joy, goodness. You start to get things done. I think if I were to think about if everybody in this world believed in themselves and that they could do anything, how much different this world would be.
Hmm, yes.
Maybe we would have solved cancer by now. I don't know. Maybe we would have tried 100 years ago. But think about the things that we could do in society if each one of us believed that we could do the thing that we felt called to do. It would be incredible.
Incredible indeed. Probably we have already invented something that we can go beyond our solar system or go beyond our galaxy. And before that, Mr. Braden, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season as well. Comedy 101, third season, food 101 in sixth season 2, geography 101, love letters, movie 101, review music 101, our fifth season, science 101, sex 101, and it's third season and trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Bible verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Braden, tell us, for someone utterly imprisoned by I can't in a key area of their life, what is the one tiny, almost imperceptible action they could take in 24 hours that would represent a microscopic I can?
One thing they could do right now is write down on a piece of paper, I can do blank, whatever that is that they're looking for. And then what they can do from there is then they can write down a list of reasons, evidence to support why that belief is true. It can come from somebody else's experience, or something they've said to you, or even stories that you know of. But write down, I can do blank, and then give it a bunch of reasons as to why it's true, and then go out and do it.
Yes, definitely. I can be a good podcast host sooner or later. Oh, he's
Mhm.
already a good podcast host already. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Brayden Black. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything you want to promote on Book 101?
Come follow me on Instagram _Brayden.Black. And there you can see all of the journey, all of the insights, and everything on there that we're doing. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you've got questions, or would love to get coached, or just ask for some tips and tricks.
Yes, people, I support Mr. Brayden Black because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering coaching will rise. I have one more question, Mr. Brayden. Finally, how do you redefine what I can actually means? Is it about guaranteed success, or is it about willingness to try or to learn the process regardless of the immediate outcome?
I can, to me, means that there is a future reality where I see myself doing that thing that I'm telling myself that I can do. And if I believe in that, I'll get it.
Mr. Brayden Black, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
Monica people, see you soon.